Doug Maurice here with Bill Landis, Ari Wasserman, talking with this guy, Stacey Elliott. It's Ezekiel Elliott's dad. You guys go way back, right?
Way back.
Like, look how beautiful this is. Here, let's get out of the frame for a second.
You want to show Ezekiel?
Look at this. That's it. Well, yeah, I mean, the stadium's beautiful, but that's also Ezekiel Elliott walking with his family. What a lovely day at Ohio Stadium. And the Buckeyes probably feeling great after a blowout. And that's our question today, after Ohio State's win. What was it, 49-28?
Yes, sir.
49-28, Bill Landis, you used the B word in your headline after the game. Was this the blowout victory that people have been waiting for a couple weeks with Ohio State?
Yeah, you know, I used the word blowout in the headline because it was 49-21 before Ohio State snapped the ball over the quarterback's head, and then Maryland got a late touchdown. I mean, I guess I can see how 49-28 would not be perceived as a blowout, but it certainly felt like the most convincing win I think Ohio State has had all year. And I know they beat Virginia Tech, I think, by the exact same margin. It was a 42-21 against Virginia Tech.
That was a long time ago. I can't remember.
I think it was, if not the same margin, the same thing. The point is, it's been 4 weeks since Ohio State has had a win that felt like, oh, yeah, they're supposed to do this. And I know it wasn't always pretty. They gave up some rushing yards to a quarterback that apparently they hadn't studied on film because they weren't sure who was going to play. But I think in the name of them looking for a convincing win, which they haven't had in 4 weeks, this certainly felt like that to me.
Convincing win, says Bill Landis. Ari Wasserman, do you agree?
No, I don't at all. I think that – sorry, that was really aggressive. I didn't mean it to be. I was just thinking if they have post-game pizza up there or not. I was just not the idea of being tied in the third quarter with a team like Maryland is not convincing at all. And for the most part of the game, I thought that even though they had a 2-touchdown lead there in the first half, and then they gave it back. I mean, it never really felt like the game was out of hand until the fourth quarter when Ohio State, ran away with it. And I think probably Maryland was a little bit demoralized by the way things are going and maybe their coach and all that stuff. So, if you're tied in the third quarter, to me, you're not with Maryland, you're not the Ohio State team that people expected just yet.
I'm going to say both, because I think it is. Because I think this was unlike, for instance, Indiana and Northern Illinois, where, I mean, if you were really paying attention, you had to think they might lose. Now, did you think they probably would lose? No, they're better than those teams. But when Northern Illinois gets the ball multiple times in the fourth quarter down a score, when Indiana throws a pass into the end zone on the last play of the game that could have tied the score, that's different than this. So although this was 21-21 in the third quarter, and I agree, it's like, how is this happening? I never got the sense today of like, wow, they're actually going to lose today. Now, mostly that's because Maryland is terrible. But then I felt like what we got at the end was, okay, the quarterback thing is different, but it feels like it's working. The defense is getting aggressive and getting after them and getting some pressures, and Maryland's not really going to be able to do anything on offense in the fourth quarter, and they put it away. So it's not, the 80-0 kind of games that Baylor might be hanging on some people. But I think for Ohio State, I'm going to call it a qualified blowout. But I'm closer to the B word with you than I am not B word with you.
It kind of reminded me of last year's Maryland game a little bit. And that last year's Maryland game was kind of a turning point. And I don't want to start playing that game of, is Ohio State going to win? But it wasn't like the most aesthetically pleasing game. And there were times where it was like, this team is very flawed. But at the same time, they kind of turned it on. And they were clearly, I don't think that expecting them or thinking they're going to lose has much to do with whether or not I feel like it was a blowout. I never thought Ohio State was in danger of actually losing the game. But I think in the fourth quarter and towards the end, they just outlasted them talent-wise. And this could be the first step, maybe the intermediate step before they start really doing what the people are expecting.
And Urban Meyer afterward seemed upbeat, right? I mean, like someone said, well, you were tied at 21, and he was kind of like, yeah, whatever. Like he felt it was a good win, I would say.
Yeah, I think that's the thing, because I wasn't angry at Ari for disagreeing with me, but I think your justification for not being a blowout was that Ohio State is still not the team that people expected to be, and I would agree with that. I don't think they're anywhere near that. I think they looked like that at points today, certainly. But there's things that you see that you peg as things they need to work on, and it's giving up rushing yards to a quarterback nobody had heard about before today, and still some miscues on offense, even though both quarterbacks certainly look sharp. So, but I think it was more about the feeling of coming out and maybe leaving the field feeling like you were clearly the better team and you dominated that game, particularly in the second half the way you needed to, which I think Ohio State is kind of hanging its hat on.
No, we already had enough from you.
Okay.
It's a beautiful day.
Yeah, it is.
Ari, Bill, Doug, thanks for watching. Thanks for reading at cleveland.com. Whoops.